Docket number 007. Case file. Scream 7 casts the world. I am Incarnate, your Inquisitor General of the Mind's Eye, welcoming you to the Mind's Eye Inquisition. On tap for tonight is a news network kicking up dirt and calling it smoke for the fire in a desperate pitch for relevancy. So, as your lead inspector on this case, if you've heard it through the grapevine, it's time for me to trim the hedges. What's your favorite scary movie? The Casting Couch. How about that? This is the 7th edition of the Inquisition, since we'll be tackling the casting news surrounding Scream number 7. How sad that Lady Luck ain't on the side of this franchise. Oof. It ain't a coincidence that it's been 2 years since the last Scream movie, and that the sequel in question is due for release next year. 2026 will mark the 3-decade anniversary of this franchise, and you know what they say about turning dirty 30. You look back on years gone by with rose-tinted glasses, longing for your best years that have long since passed. Well, before we blow out the birthday candles, your Inquisitor General brings cautionary tidings and a warning. In the event you've missed the news, the roll call for Scream 7 that's been all the rage is headlines of this sequel actually bringing back dead killers from past Screams. Specifically, the movie has cast the ghost faces of Scream 1 and 3, namely Matthew Lillard's Stu Macher and Scott Foley's Roman Bridger from Scream 3. Now, if you're asking, who the hell is that last guy? Exactly. He was that lame-ass, forgettable killer to don the mask in the equally forgettable third Scream movie. Honestly, it shows the level of despair and directionless panic that the studio and the series handlers have cornered themselves into, that they're not just relying on past names, but dead characters. It's always amused me how Scream 4 was considered a failure, despite the fan adoration for the character Kirby, which is why the modern Scream handlers brought her back. Funny how they can't craft likable characters of their own, which brings me to the latest edition of what it is that they brought to this franchise, the Mindy character. Oh my god. I've mentioned it in past content and videos that I've done about the Scream movies. Well, I should say Scream 2022 and Scream 6. That character is annoying as hell. And to be honest, she's basically the minority triple threat of the Randy character. She's black, she's a female, and she's gay. So great. Like, nobody cares about this character, and my god, Randy himself was not funny. He wasn't in the first or the second Scream movie. This chick comes off like that guy at the party who's always on, you know what I mean? Always got to be the performer, but is just grating on the nerves. Yeah, that's her. And she's like the narrator now for the entire franchise, and she's unlikable. She's seemingly unkillable after that train scene of the last Scream movie. Jesus. And it's so funny that they put more stock into that character than either of the two leading ladies that they were purported as the new faces of the franchise. Oh god. And where the previous two Scream movies couldn't create an interesting character, what would they do? Gee, they would just have to bring back the ghost of Billy Loomis. Like, my god, that just reeked of desperation from the moment that I saw it. I I was worried that they were just going to rely on past glory, and they were insecure with the characters that they were trying to present as the new faces of the franchise. And boy, was I right. And I felt that way coming out of Scream 2022, and now here we are 3 years later. But yeah, the using a Dexter ghost for someone who they were trying to like do the melting frog effect, the boiling frog effect, where slowly and by degrees the pressure was getting to the Melissa Barrera character, the older of the Carpenter sisters, and she was already the daughter of Billy Loomis, the illegitimate daughter of Billy Loomis. Yeah, tell me that wasn't a force. But now she's seeing visions of him and the memory of a kill. Like, oh my god, this was so sad. And I'm sure that I had predicted that they were gonna go that route where she finally cracks in Scream 6, but I'm assuming before the character got fired because of no words about a certain war going on in the Middle East. I'm pretty sure that's what they had in store for her, but let's be honest, that wasn't gonna, like, if it's painfully obvious that you're building towards that, how much of a surprise can it really be? How much of a betrayal can it really be? And oh, by the way, no one cared about her character. Moving on. I mean, like, honestly, they're bringing back, they're relying so heavily on past names. It's going to be revealed that the killer for Scream number 7 is Wes Craven. I mean, come on, man. This is how bereft of ideas that they have. And look, in the not to harp, because this is obviously about the casting, so not to harp too much on Scream 6, but they did a change up of the venue, and like, seriously, what did they pave for this, for the franchise moving forward? Nothing. They just want, and like, I'll get to which what do you call it? I'll get to which franchise Scream and in its current state reminds me of. I'll get to that in a second. But like, seriously, man, they don't build towards anything. And you might as well have it where each Scream sequel is its like own thing or a remake, because they want this to be a franchise, but they have no idea like how to build towards that. You know what I mean? And again, to speak on Scream 6, but focus on the casting, they were really trying to hammer it home that these were the new faces of the franchise. What did they call them? The Core 4? Well, half your Core 4 is gone, so what good did that do you? I mean, and speaking of more returning characters, they have Courtney Cox, who is gradually melting into an undead movie monster all her own. I mean, Jesus, she is unrecognizable from the days of Friends. Behind the scenes, this will be the first of the Scream films in the franchise that's directed by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 4 from 2011. Look, I have no personal problem with the man, but we have to have a moment of honesty. He truly is a one-trick pony. I mean, come on. The Faculty is grotesquely overrated, and he just tried a copy-paste job of teenage tropes and tried to ham-fist it into an Alien movie. Oh, God. I've never understood, and I think they're remaking that movie too. I wonder if he's probably gonna be involved in that crap. I've never understood the fanfare around the Faculty, but moving on. Like, seriously, had I known that the nostalgia shrine from Scream 6 would have led all the way to casting of this caliber, I would have dunked even harder on that movie. Speaking of, I warned about this before. In all the Scream videos that I've made in the past, I have warned about this over-reliance on the past, prioritizing everything but character and plot. I said it was a bad look that Scream 6 was bragging that it would be the bloodiest Scream yet because it was spotlighting blood and guts instead of story. Now what do we have? Mason Gooding, the guy that the beefcake that's only known in the Scream franchise that it is now because his name is Chad. He goes on record of saying Scream 7 has the most brutal ghost face. Look, you do not understand either the villain or the point of these movies if you're relying on gore. That's not what this is about. Is it a guy in a mask with a knife? Yes, but that does not automatically mean that it has to be the new Saw. You know what I mean? It's not like that. That's not what this franchise is about. And it's really stupid that these people don't understand that. They keep touting blood because they know that they need to rely on that because they ain't got anything else. They have nothing else to provide for you. They have nothing else that's going to drive interest. And with that in mind, with what it is that they're trying to use and trying to manipulate in order to garner interest, do not be fooled. This ain't about flashbacks. It's all about name brands and member berries. There's been talk of Stu Macher showing back up in the franchise since the very first sequel. And even Matthew Lillard did a cameo in a blink and you miss it appearance amongst the crowd at the frat party in Scream 2. And speaking of frat boys, what I'm about to say, I say with no joy, with no glee, but for a film such that, hell, I'm nostalgic for, because I was a kid when the original Scream came out. Where this franchise has gone, I take no pleasure in what I'm about to say. Scream is that kid that refused to grow up and is now that awkward adult that aged out and is the last to know. Still showing up on the scene at kids' parties despite not being invited. Even sadder is that no one, horror media, no one has the balls to tell it, the Scream movie, that its best days are far behind it and it's time to pack it up and call it quits. No one else will say it, so it falls to Incarnate to be your bearer of bad news. Yes, horror fans, that same franchise that was once hip and ahead of the curve has found itself behind the times, shambling around, having lost its swagger, telling the same old jokes and using the same old tropes just to get by, living on name brand and past glory. I hate to break it to you, but that's just how it is. What was that Dr. Evil line from Austin Powers? There's nothing more pathetic than an aging hipster. Yeah, dude, I hate to break it to you, but that's just where you find yourself. And this is self-inflicted because you did this to yourself. Scream finds itself thoroughly entrenched in Halloween territory, where, what did I say before? They know they want a franchise, but they don't know what the hell to do with these films or where to take the series. They're at a complete loss. Dr. Red Panda, hello, welcome back. As you can see, I'm talking about the recent Scream casting and what do I think it means. And speaking of franchises, look, on the one hand, you almost can't blame Scream because, as sad as it is, this is a symptom of a much bigger problem with lack of originality in storytelling and ongoing franchises. It's just that Scream is the latest example. Much like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jurassic Park, Resident Evil, even Alien, they either struggle to or can't move past part one. I mean, there's even this is how bad it is. There's even a line in Scream 6 where Neve Campbell is breaking the fourth wall and she's talking about how, Oh my God, you've got to be the most derivative killer yet. I mean, you picked the same house, the same damn house, because they go back to the same party house at the end of Scream 6, excuse me, Scream 5, as was the party house that ended Scream, OG Scream. Dr. Red Panda says, Scream 1 and 2 are my favorite slashers. Really? You like Scream 2? I find it particularly forgettable, to be honest. Like, even the kid, the second killer, like, he's like, you completely forgot who he was by the time of the reveal. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. And honestly, with all these lame and desperate nostalgia cameos, they're going into full-on Deadpool and Wolverine. And they're just gonna Deadpool and Wolverine the crap out of this sequel. That's why they're going back to the killer from Scream 3. First off, everybody like either hates that movie or forget it was a thing. So why, oh why, do you feel the need to go back to the sequel of Scream that either people forget is forgettable or people want to forget? Like, what, like, why do you do that? That's like when, and speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, that was like when Elektra showed up. It's like, dude, nobody cares. When I went to watch that movie, not to get off topic here, but when I went to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine, and oh my God, Elektra shows up, it's like there was barely a sigh, barely a sound. Now, when Wesley Snipes' Blade shows up, okay, that's something to get excited about. And Scream 7 is clearly doing just more of that crap. And again, we've seen this nostalgia baiting across media for quite some time. I mean, look at the piss poor state of Star Wars, Terminator, hell, even Star Trek. They're all in this same boat. And people raved about Star Trek Picard Season 3, but it was just recycling the franchise's greatest hits and offered nothing new. Alien Romulus was the same way, living in the past, and it even chronologically speaking, that movie is wedged between its only two good movies, which is reminiscent of how the plot ended up. Again, for a movie that I liked, that I've loved so much, like Scream, that I'm nostalgic for, I mean, it was a product of its time, and it really hit on something special. Look, it's a film and a franchise that prided itself on self-awareness, which is pretty ironic considering that it doesn't even realize the reason it relies so heavily on its past is because it has no future. I would like to take this time to mention a couple of videos on this franchise that I would like to recommend. My Scream 5 review. I'd like to recommend my Scream 6 trailer gut reaction. This one I was really proud about. My Scream 6 versus Evil Dead Rise, A Tale of Two series. And also I came out with something of a review of the last Scream movie I called Requiem for a Scream, Scream 6 reaction. So I hope you've enjoyed this live reaction that I wanted to put together for this casting news. But now let me just discuss what's going on with my channel, the Mind's Eye Inquisition and the Greater Mind's Eye. So, watch parties. I've had a ton of them recently. I can't believe we're in February already. In December, I did watch parties for Beetlejuice, a watch party of the slasher Grinch movie, complete B-movie cheese, and I loved it for it, The Mean One. I did a watch party for Nosferatu, 1922. Dr. Red Panda says, I read a sample of Playground by Aaron Beauregard. What's that? Please elaborate. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I've been doing watch parties for Dexter Original Sin. I do invite you to take a gander at that. All the watch parties are up on my channel. They range from Dexter Original Sin, episode 1, all the way to 8. What else? I've done live streams of 2 remasters, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, rounds 1 through 3, and The Thing, rounds 1 through 3. And those were part of my winter stream warning, which is my survival horror winter-themed gaming event all throughout the season of winter. And this past Tuesday, I kicked off the February live stream of Kolot, which is a murder mystery. I've done precautions and aftershocks for Blumhouse's Wolfman, as well as the Nosferatu remake. So whenever I go to see a horror movie, beforehand, I do a preview that I call my precaution, and my aftershock is my reaction video that I post fresh from the theater. Dr. Red Panda basically saw with playground equipment and children. Oh my god, that's morbid.
Emotional damage.
That's for you, Dr. Red Panda. Thanks for sharing, though. Last Sunday, I did a Mind, was my 6th episode of the Mind's Eye Inquisition, where labeled Cry Wolf, the Blumhouse failure with its recent Wolfman. So that takes care of content that I've done recently. So what do we have as far as coming attractions? So, my live streams are my live streams of survival horror, which I do every Tuesday. I invite you to. And not only will I continue this upcoming Tuesday with my playthrough of Kolot, I am halfway through my winter stream morning event, so I invite you to take a look at those. In addition to that, all next week, I wasn't able to do it this week. All next week, I'll be doing my 2025 horror previews, which will deal with Monday, we'll deal with movies. Tuesday, we'll deal with TV. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Monday, we'll do 2025 horror movie previews. Wednesday will be TV. Thursday will be video games. So as far as, but that'll be next week. As far as what remains of this week, tomorrow I will be doing my Dexter Original Sin episode 9 watch party. We only got 2 episodes left, so I invite you to not just join me tomorrow, but additionally to follow along with me, or follow along the previous episodes that I've done. And what else do we have? So Saturday, this weekend, this Super Bowl weekend, I will be doing my final rounds of Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, round 4, and my The Thing Remastered, round 4. I don't know when yet, but I will be doing overcasts of Doom: The Dark Ages. They had a direct, what was it? A direct, I forgot what they called it. But anyway, they spoke a little bit about the game behind the scenes, and then they showed a playthrough of it. So I'll be discussing that coming up, as well as Blood of the Dawnwalker. So be on the lookout for that. Dr. Red Panda, I hope you'll join me for these live streams that I've got coming up. Anyway, why is the Mind's Eye Inquisition the place for heated debate? Because I ask the burning questions that inquiring minds want to know. If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to Fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.